It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, you want to rock and roll? Riding on the highway, going to a show. Stopping on the byway, playing rock and roll. Getting round, getting stoned, getting beat up, throwing bone, getting high, getting shook. Watch all your bones, it's harder than it looks. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's easy to do one night stands. Try playing a rock and roll band. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll.
Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Caden Reif, and we're back. It's 2006, here from the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series for the Daytona Duels, here from Daytona Beach, Florida. A couple of races, qualifying races, on your way here tonight to get the new season started for us here tonight, as we will take you trackside in just a short couple of moments here from Daytona for your starting lineup in duel number 1, winner of the pole in this Daytona 500 qualifying just yesterday was Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, starting from first place for today's first race. And looking down the rest of the order, it will be, that is the wrong window, excuse me, it will be Casey Kane, the 38 car runner-up in the championship last year, starting in second place. And down the rest of the order, Casey Atwood will be from third here in this duel. Fourth place goes to Greg Biffle, and Kyle Busch will be in P5, moving teams to the 43. Martin Truex Jr., a rookie in the 8 car for Richard Childress Racing, he'll be in 6th. And Tony Stewart, last year's champion, in 7th for Chip Ganassi in the 42. Carl Edwards will be in the 8th position, and Jack Sprague getting the starts in the 55 car for Hendrick. He'll be 9th. Chase Montgomery in the 68 will be P10. Terry Labonte, his new team, in the 14 car in 11th place. He's in on speed, as well as Ricky Rudd in the 33 for APR. Scott Wimmer will be in the 23 still in 13th place, and Todd Bodine makes the move to the 77 in P14. Mark Martin in his final full-time Cup season, he'll be in the 15th spot, and Brian Vickers will be from 16th. That's your Bud Shootout winner. Kurt Busch will start from P17, still in the 01. John Andretti went to the 21 car, and he will be in 18th. 19th, Dale Jr., he's in the 88 for, that'll be Robert Yates. And Tony Raines in the 74, still with base in 20th. Morgan Shepherd in 21st in the 89. Ron Hornaday Jr. will be in the 78 in Cup this year. Stanton Barrett still at his team in the 95. And Tim Fadua in the 37, that's 24th place. Ryan McGlynn starting in his own team in the 07 and 25th, and Jeff Fultz in the 54 Arnold, rounding out the field here in duel number 1. 26 cars in duel 1, 26 in duel 2, which we will get to right after this one. And we take you to the track for the command to fire the engines here from Daytona.
Drivers, start your engines!
Engines fired up here from duel number 1 under the lights here in Daytona as we get ready for this first of 2 qualifying races here tonight. A lot of moves under the preseason going down behind the scenes and a lot of teams making some changes. Of course, a lot of things to talk about. Old guard might be on the way out. We're seeing a lot of drivers starting to retire. Of course, Mark Martin making his retirement announcement, as well as some others planning to leave NASCAR at the end of this season. But that 28, the biggest name that's on the way out going into next year. And a lot of drivers on the move, as we mentioned. Many drivers have changed teams. Tony Stewart, who was driving the 20 for Joe Gibbs, he made the switch over to Chip Ganassi Racing. See him back there in the 42 car for Ganassi's garage in that Bass Pro Shops Dodge, and making the switch over there. Kevin Harvick replaced him in the 20. He'll be in duel number 2, as well as a lot of others making switches here and there. Terry Labonte making the move to his own team, of course. Ricky Rudd going to be in the 33. Sprague back at Hendrick, he's in the 55, as well as others, and many more making moves to other places. And of course, the last gasp of the Gen 4, this 2006 season will be the final year that the Cup Series will be operating these bodies.
And all these moves in such a short time. NASCAR has the shortest offseason of all Americans, major American sports.
Absolutely.
Quick turnaround for a lot of these teams.
Yep, and you come into this next year focusing on what can we do to be better this season. A lot of moves happening into this season, of course, and a lot going on in such a quick time, and getting right back into the action here from Daytona. It'll be 45 laps here today for both duels. Pit stop is expected in this race, but Jeff Gordon from the pole leads us to the green, and we are underway here in 2006. Leaving turn 4 for the first time here from Daytona, as Jeff Gordon from the pole leads the opening lap here in duel number 1. Worth considering the race-ins into today's race, and looking at the groups of drivers who are coming into this race, looking to race their way into the Daytona 500. 3 spots up for grabs in both duels, and it will be 8 per looking to make their way in. So 5 of them will be going home. That group in duel number 1. There'll be John Andretti in the 21 car, as well as Tony Raines, Morgan Shepherd, Ron Hornaday Jr., Barrett, Fedua, McGlynn, and Fultz in this first duel, looking to make their way in on race day and be in the big show on Sunday, following the Busch race on Saturday, as well as the second duel yet to come after this. Leaving turn 4, Casey Atwood in the 30 car, staying at Richard Childress this season, just led a lap here. On lap number 2, Jeff Gordon in the 24, dropping out of the lead now.
And dropping out of the lead pack, it looks like already, is the 50 car.
Couple of drivers starting to trail that lead pack, of course. Fultz back there losing some time. Fedua in the 37 and McGlynn in the 07. Both just a little bit of a ways off the pack, but the 50 struggling for speed early. Seeing right now as you look at the transfer spots, 21 car of John Andretti is the first one holding on to any of those transfer spots. He's got Morgan Shepherd right behind him. And then it'll be the 78
and
of
Ron Hornaday Jr. Yeah.
Down off of turn number 4 is
lots of jostling in the back here.
Absolutely, drivers trying to make up spots early in the running here, and as we mentioned, expecting one singular pit stop in this duel. Tony Stewart, defending Cup champion, looking for the lead on Casey Atwood there in turn 1, and he's going to have that move made. He's got Sprague right behind him.
But I would be aware, like, we have a fuel run of 38 to 42 laps. When you're talking a 45-lap race, a caution, 1 or 2 cautions, and suddenly this could get really interesting.
Absolutely, but it would have to come early. Leaving turn 4 once again, it's now Sprague in the lead, as he's out in front of the 14 of Terry Labonte, running in the 2nd position. Taking lap number 5 now, as the 55 out in 1st place. A lot of drivers in this group with stories behind them. Of course, Sprague making the move to stick with Hendrick, running that 55 machine for them this year. They make the switch of sponsorship. It'll be Long John Silver's on the hood of that race car. Terry Labonte, of course, we mentioned him in the pre-race, but didn't have a whole lot of chance to talk about him full stop until just now, as he's going for the race lead with help from Kurt Busch, making the move to Pontiac and taking with him Kellogg's sponsorship as his program that he teased during the 2005 season finally coming to fruition in the form of Labonte Incorporated, running their first season in NASCAR. The 14 full-time this year, both in Cup and GNS. The GNS car fielding for Justin Labonte with the same sponsorship and the same scheme. And meanwhile, in Cup, it's Terry Labonte running part-time and splitting that car with Don Thompson Jr., and that's a big story as well. The 33 of Petrie's team forming an alliance with them to field their cars this season. It's officially in the Cup Series, Labonte Incorporated with Andy Petrie Racing, so fielding some Pontiacs from the garage of APR, and APR themselves making the move to Pontiac, moving towards the Gen 5 in 2007.
Whole lot of new faces, a whole lot of new places.
But speaking of familiar faces, here's the 88 of Dale Jr., who made the move over to that Yates garage this season, and he leads a lap here on lap number 6. He's side-by-side with Kurt Busch in the 01 for the lead.
Don't look now, but that's Morgan Shepherd in the catbird seat.
89 car right behind that 88 Ford as they are lined up on the bottom lane. A bunch of the race-ins down there, 89, 78, 74, 07, all in a train. You see the 95 is in line back there as well on the bottom. All these guys trained up on the lower line. That's allowing Kurt Busch to stay with Dale Jr. You got a little bit less powerful engines on the bottom right now. So these two lanes staying equal at the moment, while Jr. trying to pull out in front of the 01 off of turn 4. Is he going to be able to block? He is. Trying to throw a block on Kurt Busch, but the 01 pulling back up alongside him down the front stretch.
Yeah, this is a spot you really don't want to find yourself in. This could get dicey quick.
Junior doing a good job of managing the field as he and Morgan Shepherd are now clear first and second place off of turn 2. Handful of laps completed as they race down the backstretch. Shepherd trying to block his fellow race-ins on the bottom. And Junior in control of the field right now.
I'm sure Morgan is content to just stay right where he is.
Absolutely, in position to make the 500 right now. Leaving turn 4. Still all Junior. Busch trying to find a way around the 89 on the outer line. He's got help from the 21 of Andretti up there. As they race in to turn number 1. Worth noting, the 88 of Dale Jr. was a big concern going into this season about owner's points. The 88, of course, fielding Dale Jarrett last season, was below the top 30 D&Q'd a couple of races last year in Jarrett's retirement tour, and they were wondering about what the deal with owner's points is, but Jr., ever the kind gentleman, brought over his owner's points from the 8 car this season, and as a result is locked into the first 5 races. Was beneficial too. That 88 had a very poor qualifying going into this race and wasn't in a very good position, and if they hadn't had the 8 car's owner's points going into this race, they would have had to race their way into the Daytona 500 given where they qualified.
And for a major team, that is not a spot you want to be in.
Absolutely. So it was beneficial that they brought over those owner's points, and right now still in control of the field. Kurt Busch really holding his own on the outside. Not something we see a lot of, but thanks to the, as we said, less powerful engines on the bottom right now, 01 sticks in line with Dale Jr. on the top. He's been trying to control the field and has been doing so beautifully, led the last couple laps in a row. Busch almost clear into turn 3, but couldn't quite pull in front of the 89 on the bottom.
Yeah, it's a 200-mile-an-hour traffic jam right now.
Looking more like Friday rush hour than anything else. 10 laps completed here from Daytona. Junior led 3 or 4 in a row now. Still doing his best to moderate the lines and figure out who he should be in front of. Morgan Shepherd still on the bottom. Your transfer at the moment is 89, 78, 21. Andretti has the nose over the 74. That would be Tony Raines on the bottom, still in line on the lower line. 4 of the race-ins in line on the bottom lane. All the way back to the 07 back there. about 5 rows deep as Dale Jr. still throwing the blocks on these guys in the lead. Whole lot of nothing happening up front right now.
And Jeff Gordon, the only person here with a lot to lose, the only one of the non-racers with a lot to lose, he is in a very uncomfortable spot for someone who just needs to finish the race.
Absolutely sticking in line. Kyle Busch in the 43 just went to the middle lane there. 42 of Tony Stewart will follow him up the middle. 30 and 28 up high. And, of course, that 3 wide right in front of the pole sitter, Jeff Gordon, who's got to make it into the 500 in the car he qualified with in order to retain that front row starting position.
And if he wrecks out, it's the guy that wins this race that ends up starting on pole.
Absolutely. Leaving turn number 4, once again, it is still 01.89 for second with Dale Jr. positively in control of this race. Something we do not often see a lot of in these plate races, but he is in the new team and showing exactly why everybody thinks he's one of the best in the garage at these plate tracks.
I mean, he's just running this exactly how you want to.
Definitely how they drew it up in that Yates garage. Busch still not able to clear the 89 into turn 3. It is just a log jam at the moment. Jeff Gordon in the 24, middle of 3 wide, just trying to get around Mark Martin there, and unable to do so as he's trapped in the middle. Really not a good spot to be in at the moment for that 24.
And you have to imagine, as we get closer and closer, if this holds for very long, we could end up with a situation in which they're trying to pit from this spot.
Absolutely. Kurt Busch in the 01 just got clear, finally clear on the outside. Took about 10 laps almost. Now in front of the 89 is him and Junior pulling away a little bit down the back, and that'll give the opportunity for Busch to duck low and make a lead change here, as Dale Jr. will be forced up to the high side. Still Shepard in line on the bottom, pulling up to try and fight Junior for second place, as he was with Kurt Busch a handful of laps ago. And now the 01 into the lead here in front of the 89 and 88, who runs side by side for second. Andretti pulling up once again to help the leader of the outside line. And it'll be Dale Jr. this time, but a lot more 3 wide in the mid-pack. There was the 07 that just jumped up there. And starting to get things a little squirrely in the middle of the field, starting to ruffle the hairs of these drivers as they head down the backstretch, mostly 3 wide.
Still holding 3 wide.
3 and 4 rows deep in the middle. Kurt Busch pulling away from the lead. A lot of stacking up. Andretti's going to duck low. 74, 78, 89 in position to advance right now, but Kurt Busch is loving the fact that they are side by side. Here's Brian Vickers, the Busch shootout winner, to duck on the bottom of 3 wide for second place. That's 4 wide behind the leaders.
4 wide, and all of them are racings.
That was 4 deep for the second, actually no, would have been the last transfer spot. Still really pushing each other. A lot of 4 wide. Todd Bodine trying to fight his way under the 68 of Chase Montgomery. Couldn't do it. Getting aggressive right now.
But in front of these 3 wides, single file.
Training now all the way through top 6 as Montgomery joins this group. Kurt Busch still comfortably in the lead and holding them all at bay at the moment. Now top 7 and even top 8 go single file as Carl Edwards and Todd Bodine get clear and take Truex with them. It's the top 9 now. And that is probably not going to last long as they head down the backstretch. Opportunity for Andretti. He's going to duck low on the 74 for third.
And no one follows. Oh, wait. He's got Montgomery.
Couple of Fords went with him. We don't talk Manufacturer Alliance too much, but a couple of Fords on the bottom are going to stick with the 21. Busch and Vickers still first and second as they head down the front stretch. Field stringing out a little bit now as they calm it down from that 3 wide spurt a couple of laps ago.
As we saw in the Bud Shootout, those Fords have been really making it a point this season to work well together at these plate tracks.
No question about it. Have seen a lot of them together up to this point. Field strung out. 50 car, the only driver out of the draft. That'd be Jeff Fultz, who is slowly getting closed in on by these race leaders, approaching lap number 20 in a couple of laps here, and sooner than later, it'll be halfway through this race. Here's the Bud Shootout winner, Brian Vickers, on the bottom of Kurt Busch to take the race lead.
He's been really turning a lot of heads this speed week.
Absolutely, been looking very fast. Trying to hold both lanes at bay. He's not going to be able to. How about this 68 injury fill-in? Chase Montgomery on the bottom, trying to take away the lead from the 44 of Vickers. Montgomery already in the 500 on speed, fighting with the 44 for first down the backstretch. He's got Martin Truex Jr. in line, right behind him in the 8 for Childress. And that 68 is going to take first here. As they head through 3 and 4, they'll be starting lap number 20 this time by Montgomery. Not going to be able to hold the bottom, and maybe he will. Yes, he will. At least this time. Has the lead at the stripe either way.
A little bit of an ambitious block there.
Trying to keep the 44 of Vickers behind him, and as a result, is going to get the 8 of Truex up his inside now. Door-to-door for first. Here's rookie Truex on the bottom. Got a lot of veteran presence behind him. It'll be Biffle, Kane, and Gordon, as well as Martin all in line on the bottom. The 33 and 43 back there as well. Rudd and Busch. Down on the lower line, still double file through all the way back to the very end of the field where Tony Stewart runs up the middle with the 77 of Bodine. And leaving turn 4, it's now Truex in first place as this merry-go-round for first place continues. 37 of Fadoa dropping off at the pack back there himself. And now 3 wide up the middle is Kurt Busch in the 01 as they head towards turn 1 this time. Casey Kane in the 38 gonna duck low for second place. Jeff Gordon sticks high. Give the opportunity for Mark Martin to come up and follow his teammate through on the inner line. As they leave turn number 4 now. Halfway here in this duel as they head down the backstretch halfway through lap number 22. Ricky Rudd looking on the inside of Mark Martin for third to split up the 2 teammates who were second and third place. And Kane is going to jump on the opportunity to go for the race lead now. Side by side between him and Martin Truex Jr. for first, and the 38 is going to take away the lead, not without pressure from Rudd. And the 33 jumps low now. Lap car of Fultz is lurking up in front of these race leaders. And we'll see how that situation goes. These guys closing at a rate of 15 or so miles an hour on that 50 car. Here is Kyle Busch now on the bottom of the 33. About 3 lead changes in just a straightaway there, with Busch taking the inside on the 33. .50 of Fultz still up the road for these race leaders. And they are about to catch him. They should catch him in the middle of 1 and 2 here. Trying to get just a little bit of extra draft from that 50 car. And we'll see. Might be able to block here as they come up off the corner. Kyle Busch will go around the outside. 30 gets stuck in behind. Busch orchestrated that beautifully, used him as a pick, and now he's got a lap car buffer for the race lead. Although Atwood is going to duck right underneath the 50 down into turn number 3 this time to make sure he's got clean racetrack in front of him, that 43. Busch, Atwood, and Junior down the back stretch. 88 looking to take second place. Not a bad fast race car right now, and he continues to try and climb the order back to that first place he had held for so long in the middle portion of this race. Kyle Busch still in comfortable hold of first as they head down the front stretch. 20 laps to go here in duel number 1 from Daytona. It is all 43 right now. Junior trying to get underneath him. Aggressive dive low, trying to force him up the track. Couldn't do it. Busch stays in first as they leave turn 2 this time. Transfer goes 95, 89, and 74. Kurt Busch going to help the 88 of Junior down on the bottom lane as he leaves Kyle up on the outside. Tough blood between the brothers here as Dale Jr. retakes that first spot and has the same car that he had in second place for the majority of his run in the lead. Right behind him, that's Kurt Busch in the 01, tandeming with the 88 out front. Now 19 laps to go. '88, 01, 77, 38, 89, your top 5. Kurt Busch tried to jump down low for the lead, but Bodine already got underneath him. Trying to throw a bit of a block, couldn't do it, but got clear into turn number 3. '88 of Junior holding first down the front stretch. Led by far the most laps here today. Make it a point to dominate here in the duels. That car looking pretty quick. Maybe thinking, you always talk about Saturday pace to Sunday pace, qualifying to the race. Junior with a poor qualifying, but has been quick here tonight. Nonetheless, Kurt Busch in the 01 been his Achilles heel here tonight, and he jumps down low for the lead. I believe Braden's having some technical issues, so it's just me at the moment. But 01 car in first place. He's got the 74. That's Tony Raines right behind. Big run by the 74 with a chance to maybe try to take a surprise lead here. And heading into turn 1, he does have the bottom lane. Here comes that 74. But Vickers is going to get underneath him and spoil the party. Down the back stretch, 44-74 for first place. Vickers back to the lead again. He's got Greg Biffle right behind him. Down through 1 and 2 now. Top 4 of this pack now single file. They'll bring lap car Fultz with them in the 50. Into P5. Truex and Biffle gonna jump low on the 44 of Vickers. Down towards turn number 3 this time. On the bottom lane. Greg Biffle now to first place again. As they come down to the stripe, 15 laps to go here from Daytona, as it'll be Biffle, Truex, and Vickers, the top three at the line.
I believe it's Rains, McGlynn, Andretti.
I believe you would be correct there. Actually, I do believe the 89 is on the outside there. Yes, he is. As they run 74, 89, and 07, set to advance, of course, the 50-car lap down. Truex and Biffle battling for the lead towards turn 3 now. Keeping an eye out for those transfers back there.
And a bunch of the transfers on the bottom.
A lot of them on the outside looking in on the bottom, and the ones that currently hold the transfer positions all on the outside, sans the 07, who is now in the first transfer position in third place down the backstretch, fighting with Vickers for P3. Biffle and Truex pulling away with help from the 50 block in both the lanes in third. Of course, as we mentioned, he is a lap down. Third in line, though, behind these two race leaders, as it's still Truex and Biffle off of turn 4. McGlynn looking to try to get around Vickers. Got Carl Edwards in the 97 right behind him. Stuck up on the outside now. Tony Raines on the top of 3 wide, not where he wants to be at all this stage in the race. As the laps are continuing to wind down, Edwards going to the bottom of the 50. Jeff Gordon, the pole sitter, into 4th place, right behind the 97. Looking for 3rd now on Carl Edwards. Said to hell with it, why not try and race? He's now looking to try and pick up some spots here towards the end of this. Still Truex and Biffle, who are 1st and 2nd, in front of these guys who are jostling for position right behind.
Only so many spots you can get at this race, though. And there's still a trophy here.
Absolutely, still a trophy to hoist at the end of it, as well as the cash. 8-car rookie of Truex still out front, leaving turn 4. He's got the 24, the pole sitter, right behind him, with Kurt Busch ducking low on Jeff Gordon to try and take 2nd, and he does get the nose underneath. A lot of the transfers all under a blanket back there, all at the very back of the field at that. Be 78-21. And after that, I believe it is still the 07, and it is. All of them are at the very back of the field on the line.
All these guys are going to have to pit here soon.
Yep, that is coming up. One pit window in this race should start around 37-38. We'll see what the plan is as we approach the pit stop. Mostly everybody double file, and a good time to be mostly strung out here. Jeff Gordon leading the outer lane. It's still Truex who has controlled the last handful of laps from the lead in the 8. But Kurt Busch isn't going to let that happen any longer as he ducks underneath for the 1st spot. Remember, that fellow Dodge didn't go with him. He'll take Mark Martin on the way instead. Another lap car up the road. That's Tim Fadoa. We will see if they pull up and lap him before they pit. Should be in a couple laps that they pit. As soon as this or next time, maybe. Busch trying to block both the lanes. Mark Martin looking to try to take the lead away from the 01. Drivers with the hands out the window. Here we come now. Gonna have a couple of pitters this time. 7407 got in. Couple of race-ins by themselves. Rains and McGlynn. Trying to get ahead of the curve. We'll see how it works out for him.
I mean, it all depends on how many people you can get to draft with you.
Absolutely, but also traffic on pit entry can be a problem as well. Kurt Busch leading the pack down towards turn 3. Truex will duck low for the lead. Kurt Busch tried to block him, couldn't do it. More cars with the hands out the window now. Truex is looking like he's going to duck off into the pit lane, and he does. Both the Yates cars, 38 and 88, went in amongst that group, right next to each other at that. Couple more race-ins. That was Barrett and Hornaday. Shepard lost some time, getting stuck at the back end of the pack thanks to that pit stop. Lap car, Fedor right in front of these guys when they are planning to come into the pits. 74 and 07 just left the pit lane. This is the worst time to be catching up to that 37 car for these race leaders who are coming up on him right now. Busch will go up. Gordon ducks into the pits. So do all of these race leaders, and Greg Biffle will go around the outside, as well as Edwards and Rudd. All of them kind of got checked up there, but Busch leads this entire pack into the pits. Fuel only for
This
pretty
has
much anybody.
meth written all over it.
Everybody getting checked up, trying to get in. Fuel only for everybody. Kurt Busch is away. Varied pit stop times. In the pit lane here, Jeff Gordon fighting with him for the lead on pit exit. Won't be able to hold him off. Meanwhile, Biffle ran out of fuel coming back to the pit lane. So problems for the 16. 97 and 33 did make it that time. Biffle coasting it back to the pits. Surely going to be pretty much the end of his chance to compete for the win in this race. Truex and Terry Labonte coming up on the 01 of Kurt Busch. For the lead, Truex to first. Be 5 laps to go at the stripe for your race leader, Martin Truex Jr., who will have the lead next time. 16 of Biffle finally gets away. It's 97 of Edwards and 33 of Rudd now leaving the pits all on their own. Fedor with the lap car in front of the net race leaders. In fact, we'll see. Edwards trying to get away. Truex trying to get around Fedor now. Tell you what, that 97 might have the race lead here. And he will. But he's got absolutely no help. Rudd a long ways behind. With 4 laps to go, this pack trying to catch back up. Take a look at your transfer now. Be 78-74, and a pack with all but just 2 of these drivers, or 3, excuse me, that are in this pack right behind are all transfers. It belongs to the 21 right now. So tough scenes for that battle. Truex and Kurt Busch going side by side. Rudd at the front of this pack now as they catch up and pick him up. Carl Edwards a long way out in front. They are most certainly going to catch him. Just 3 laps to go here in Duel 1. And here comes Rudd on the outside with help from Kurt Busch.
Got ahead of steam right there.
Pole sitter Gordon sticks low, door to door for the lead. Ricky Rudd to first. And he is clear into turn 3. Can he hold off the pack of hungry dogs as they leave turn 4 and will take 2 to go this time by? Fatawa, the only member of this pack that's a lap down. No traffic ahead. Leaving turn 2 down the backstretch as Rudd leads the pack. Edwards right behind him, and he has to throw a block on Jeff Gordon and will now duck low for the race lead. Coming to take the white flag this time by, it's Carl Edwards in first place off of turn 4. Junior and Gordon in line behind the 97. White flag here in Duel 1. Gordon trying to find a way to get the nose underneath that 97. Still a trophy on the table here for any one of this top 3 as they leave turn number 2. Down the backstretch for the final time. Jeff Gordon gonna duck low for the race lead. 2 Fords on the outside. Gordon's got the bottom. No help behind. Can the Fords outduel him on the top? It'll be the 68 on the bottom behind the 24. Coming back to the stripe this time. Edwards with a run on the outside. Back down to the line. The race to the flag. 97. First place. Carl Edwards outduels Jeff Gordon to the flag. What a finish in Duel 1. And the Fords come out on top. The teamwork by the 97 and 88, we talked about it a couple of laps earlier. The Fords stuck together and it worked out for him. Carl Edwards by a hair. Your winner here in Duel number 1. Take a look at your transfer positions. It will be 21, 95, and 07 into the show.
That'll
Shepard
be
Dean
Ryan
Hughes.
McGlynn's first ever Cup start, I believe.
Believe he might have made one in 2004, but nonetheless, he qualifies in. A great run for him. In 16th place, Stanton Barrett as well. A couple of unsponsored cars into the 500. And John Andretti, breathe a sigh of relief. The 21 is in the Daytona 500. And what a finish here for first place. Carl Edwards with the help from Dale Jr. on the outside by a skosh. What a finish. Two 1,000ths of a second here at Daytona in Duel number 1. What a finish all the way down to the stripe for that first position. Doesn't matter to Jeff Gordon a whole lot. He'll be on pole anyway, but Carl Edwards takes the dual win just about over that 24. That was so close.
Meanwhile, it's heartbreak for the 74.
Absolutely. Such a tight battle to the line. But it's the 97 who comes up in first, just about. Just 2/1000ths of a second. What a finish.
Can't ask for a closer finish than that.
Well, with that all being said and done, here in duel number 1, Carl Edwards, your winner by just a hair over the 24 of Jeff Gordon in that 97 machine. It'll be a long intermission, but we will be back eventually for duel number 2. Still 45 laps left on the table, and the second set, that outer line, getting ready to get set here in Daytona. And we will take you back to the track in just a little while. We'll be right back here from NASCAR on ESPN. And we're right back here from Daytona, getting set for duel number 2 here, as Robbie Gordon in the 31 car will be starting from pole in duel number 2, the outside pole winner. Looking down the rest of the order, as it'll be Mike Bliss in second place. And further down, as we go through the order just a little bit here, it'll be Jimmy Johnson, Jason Leffler, 3rd and 4th, 5th, Labonte, 6th, Jamie McMurray, 7th goes to Kevin Harvick, 8th, Regan Smith, 9th will be Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth in 10th, Ryan Newman 11th, Ricky Hendrick 12th, Hank Parker Jr. in 13th, Elder 14th, John Wood in P 15th, 16th Sterling Marlin, 17th Jeff Green, Scott Riggs in 18th, 19th goes to Mayfield, 20th will be Sadler, 21st Eric Norris, 22nd Ricky Craven, 23rd TJ Bell, 24th Dave Blaney, 25th Kenny Hendrick, and 26th Kurt Shelmerdine. 26 cars in this duel as we get set to roll here in duel number 2 with Robbie Gordon in first, and we are back underway.
The last duel was pretty intense. Do you think they're a little tamer this time?
Definitely hard to say. We'll find out in a short few moments here. Well, Braden, he led the first lap of the Bud Shootout. He leads the first lap of his duel. Jimmy Johnson right back where he left off as he leads the opening lap here in duel number 2, out in front of the 18 of Bobby Labonte, who runs in second place.
Let's see if Jimmy Johnson can keep this first lap lead streak into the points-paying races.
Absolutely, off to a very good start here tonight. Jamie McMurray, an aggressive jump to the inside on the 18 as they head towards turn 3. And of course, a lot of drivers in this duel to talk about moving and changing shapes. As we mentioned in duel number 1, Kevin Harvick, he's in the 20 car now. Made the switch over to Joe Gibbs after he left Richard Childress Racing behind. Now running that Home Depot Chevrolet. Bit of a weird look for him for sure, but I'm sure we'll get used to it in the near future. Running that 20 car. Couple of other drivers not making moves between teams but having new looks. Hank Parker Jr. now part of what is Morgan McClure Hendrick, a multi-team operation in that 4 car, who made an alliance with Hendrick, originally just Morgan McClure, and now Hendrick McClure officially in the books. The 99 car of Jeff Burton, he switched sponsors this season, running the Wendy's 99 with some yellow numbers on that thing. Jamie McMurray as well made a sponsorship change. He's now running Gillette in the 40 car with that nice bright blue machine. And down the further order, a couple of new teams as well on the grid. The 96, that's Hall of Fame Racing in that Pontiac GTO, making their first Cup campaign. They'll be running full-time with Jeff Green. Not a change in sponsorship, but a change in color for Jeremy Mayfield. Still sponsored by Sega, bringing their Sonic the Hedgehog branding over. That's the Sonic Riders machine, and expecting a second car for their mainline series game coming up. That'll be Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, coming up towards the end of this year, that will be brought on as a new sponsor. The 83 car, previously the 19, now officially under the books just as Red Bull Racing. In the 83, it's Elliott Sadler running that machine now for them, as Kyle Busch departed for the 43 at Petty. A couple of other drivers making changes to their schemes. Jason Leffler bringing new paint this season, has Dr. Pepper on the hood of that 00 car. The 2 of Regan Smith, one of the rookie contenders this year. He's in the 2 for Penske with Sonic Drive-In branding on the front of that machine. And John Wood has a new sponsor on the hood of his race car as well. That's Busch Light, returning after an absence. They were originally on the 16, left after 2004, and returned to brand on the 6. Couple of new teams behind as well. Dave Blaney in the 34, that's newly branded Front Row Motorsports, who took over from the remains of PPI in the offseason. The 71 still on the grid back there. That's Ricky Craven making the switch over to the 71, sponsored by Tide, reuniting with his long-term sponsor, who were with him with PPI, who shut down going into this year. TJ Bell in the 49 car as well. He's a rookie and doing part-time starts for BAM in that Schwann's Dodge. Kenny Hendrick for Ware. He's dropping off of the pack now, as well as Kirk Shelmerdine, who is a little bit further back off of the pack himself. A lot of new faces, as well as a lot of new paint schemes in the field. Also glossed over the Zero Christian Elder, who's in this duel with his teammate. He's in the McDonald's Zero car for this race. Battle for the lead has continued while we've been paying attention to all the new paint schemes. It's Ricky Hendrick in the 5. He's out front, taking over where he left off, won the final race of 2005. Breakout season last year, won 3 races in last season's campaign, and fighting with new face in the 26, Jeremy Mayfield, who made the move over there from Hendrick. There is a lot to go over this last off season.
But there's also just, but it's still your same old Daytona.
Absolutely.
Still your pack racing, still just as much potential for chaos.
Definitely. We were lucky to avoid any accidents in the first duel. Had a little bit of 4 wide in the middle of that, which usually spells disaster for the field at a track as narrow as this, but not a whole lot of a problem in the first duel. We'll see if they end up even having 4 wide in this second duel. Not something we've seen as often with the newer plate package they brought in at the middle of last year. Battle of the underdogs up front right now. It is all drivers who were not top 15 in driver points or owner points last year. Sans the 83, who I believe was exactly 15th in owners last season. Under the 19, a lot of contact back there. Got a car in the wall. Drivers on the apron trying to get around it. Mike Bliss down there, got to gather it back up. The 18 of Labani, everybody held on to it. Wow. That could have spelled disaster. Had a car in the fence up there. I believe it might have been the 96 of Jeff Green. We'll get a look back at this. Yeah, just got a little bit too much of the wall. Drivers in the fence. Jimmy Johnson was in the fence back there, and those guys got very loose trying to get out of the way of it. Bobby Labonte all the way on the apron. It very nearly spelled trouble for the 434. But managed to get back on the racetrack and somehow sorted everything out as everybody's working to get back to speed now, and this pack split up into 2 groups now.
I think Jeff Green probably got the best of that. I think he's in the transfer with no one else in the pack.
That would be correct. Him in the 57, actually.
Him 50, it's Riggs, Norris, Green right now. And all the rest of the transfer people are about half a second behind.
Yeah, although they managed to sort this pack out and are looking to try and pick some speed back up. 71, a member of that pack back there, as well as the 49 and 34. 3 race-ins that are a bit of a ways off. We're missing a couple because the 52 and 72 have lost the draft. So drivers working to try and get back up here. Still Mayfield. Actually, no, excuse me. He lost the lead a handful of laps ago. It's now John Wood in the 6 up front. In the lead of this race at the moment. It'll be 10 laps completed at the stripe.
It's 2 Roush cars at the front again.
Kevin Harvick looking to split that up, though, in the 20 cars. He ducks underneath Kenseth for P2. Seen a lot of Ford work, as we said. They've been working on it all week long, and it's come to a head here tonight. But Kevin Harvick in the 20, underneath the 6, or right behind the 6, underneath the 17. He's into second place now. But Jason Leffler, the rookie in the 00, now underneath the 20 for second place. John Wood loving this battle in his mirror. But for how long, as Leffler pulls all the way up to him. Down the backstretch as they head towards turn number 3. Leffler might have a chance to take the lead away here, and he is on the inside of the 6 into turn number 3. Got the pole sitter, outside pole sitter of Robbie Gordon right behind him, and Leffler has the lead out of turn 4.
Looks like all those people that got squirrely have managed to catch back up to the pack.
Missing a couple of them, the 18 and 49. Believe those 2 are going to lose the draft. Bobby Labonte, of course, worst off in that accident there and was all the way on the apron trying to keep out of traffic and very nearly went back up into the pack. Lost a lot of speed, and his only partner is TJ Bell in the 49, so those two are going to drop off of this lead pack. Now 4 cars missing from this front group. Battle for the lead is Robbie Gordon and Jason Leffler down the backstretch as they head into turn 3.
And 96 doesn't look too hurt from that wall tap.
Definitely not. 4th in line on the bottom at the moment. Well, you talk about this duel maybe being a little calmer or maybe not, and seems like it went on the latter end after that near accident there, racing towards turn 1. Very nearly resulted in trouble. The 4 was almost involved in that one as Labonte was trying to get back on the racetrack, and the 22 and 34 was also right next to that, so a couple of racings. Lucky they didn't get any further damage from that. Could have been trouble, but somehow everybody managed to save it. And veteran presence from Bobby Labonte, of course, managing to hold on to that race car, but at the cost of being a part of this lead pack. Now off of the front group. Robbie Gordon, the outside pole sitter, still in front. Led a couple of laps in a row now. He's in front of the 12 of Newman. 2 laps consecutively for the 31. Ricky Hendrick just in line in the 5, right behind this set of race leaders. Jeff Green in the 96, 4th in line. Of course, Jeff Green, one of the many drivers we mentioned making moves, making splashes, different spots that everybody's running in. Jeff Green wasn't a part of the Cup grid last year after being released from Richard Childress Racing in the middle of 2004, and is a part of the Cup garage once again. Spent a season down in the Truck Series for the majority of last year, and now back up here in Cup running the 96, helping out an upstart organization. Said, I'm happy to be a part of this team and be the first driver for Hall of Fame Racing. This new team has some pretty lofty expectations in this season, at least in terms of new teams. Looking competitive in preseason testing and found their groove. Their crew chief that they hired along with the 96 for Jeff Green. I like what I'm seeing coming into this season, and despite the fact that they are having to race into this Daytona 500, feeling confident here at Daytona, and of course in the first transfer spot, with a chance to challenge a fellow Pontiac, that's Ryan Newman in the race lead, trying to maybe take away first down the backstretch, but at the very least sticking in line right now and running well at the moment.
Quite a few new Pontiac teams this year. As they're looking, I think they've been talking a whole lot about trying to get as much data for the Gen 5 as they possibly can, and getting new teams goes a long way towards making that goal happen.
Absolutely, Pontiac, the powerhouse that holds the mainstay Penske, 12 and 22 running their bodies for the last couple seasons since 2004. And they have brought in a lot of teams. As we mentioned, the 96 is a Pontiac this year, and the 33 and 14, Labonte Incorporated and Andy Petrie, those two Alliance teammates, half teammates, are running Pontiacs both in Cup and GNS, and a couple of other teams joined them in GNS as well, namely Phoenix Racing went to their group of race cars, and Red Bull Racing, the 83 car, after Evernham's departure. Ray Evernham left that team, left it up to just Red Bull. The 83 running Pontiacs this year as well, and they talk about they really want to focus on the Gen 5, that new car coming in 2007. Nobody's unveiled their bodies yet, but they're looking to do so soon, and pretty much every manufacturer is planning on doing it at the same time, so expecting announcements on that in the near future. But we'll see with those developments, and still a full 2006 season ahead of everybody. Here's Hank Parker Jr. for Hendrick McClure on the bottom for second place, overtaking the 81 of Mike Bliss. He just took McMurray with him on the bottom. Back half of the pack, mostly 3 wide right now.
Little bit dicier this race.
We've seen a lot more aggression in this one. We saw it at the very beginning. Drivers jumping in and out at the start, and a lot of people all over the place over the course of this one so far, but it's Ryan Newman comfortably in the lead right now. Hank Parker Jr., a nice showing at the moment. That's another team worth talking about for a little bit to fill some dead air. Parker Jr., a part of this organization for the last handful of years. Last year was nothing short of a struggle fight for the 4 operation. They DNQ'd a lot of races. Parker Jr. was struggling to show up to races and get into the big show. But this year, and in the middle of last season, they announced that they were going to be partnering with Hendrick Motorsports, taking over a lot of equipment from the part-time operation of Hendrick, which was the 44 organization. The 25 made the switch to the number 44, and the 4 is effectively the remnants of what was the 44's ride that was Jerry Nadeau and Terry Labonte last season. And taking that team and going full-time with the equipment that they have, Parker Jr. really liked what he saw going into this year, trying to take a step forward, and just really the goal for the 4 team is to try to qualify for at least all 36 races and just go from there. They're off to a good start in speed weeks, of course. Parker Jr. qualified the 4 car in on time, one of just 6 non-top 30 owners in this Daytona 500 that was qualified in on speed. Was around the 25th position that he qualified, somewhere around the low 20s, and said, I really like the speed of the race car. You know, it's a new organization, well, half-new organization, bringing aboard a new paint scheme, still the same sponsorship in the form of Castrol on the hood of that 14. And they're really liking what they see going into this season. And, of course, qualifying into the Daytona 500 on speed alone, it's a great start for that 4 operation on the new calendar year as they look forward to a new campaign.
Yeah, a good Saturday really makes Thursday a whole lot less stressful.
Absolutely, and they are looking good going into this one. Jamie McMurray, your race leader at the moment. 72 of Kirk Shelmerdine, the first lap car up the road, as well as Kenny Hendrick a little bit of a ways further for these race leaders. Mostly double file right now. Be 20 laps completed at the line as McMurray leads the field with Kenseth in tow off of turn 4. All the way double file 34, the next car dropping off of the pack. Seeing a lot more drivers out of the pack in this duel instead of the last one. Shelmerdine trying to find a way to get himself in his best position he can. Very nearly jumped in front of the 40, but thought better of it, and good for him. That run that the 40 was pulling in front, and got around the outside of the 72. They go through turn 2. 17 still in second place as he went around the outside as well. Took Scott Riggs in the 57 with him.
Does 72 have a mechanical problem?
No, they do not. No problems on the radio, just having some struggles for speed today. They did qualify dead last. Started from what was the 52nd position in Saturday qualifying, which would be very last. That'd be 26th in this duel. And the first car to fall a lap down. And the 52 not too far up the road himself, that'd be Kenny Hendrick. And then further up the road than that, TJ Bale and Bobby Labonte still together in the draft. And then it will be Dave Blaney in the 34. The transfers grow thinner. Looking at the drivers who are primed to advance at the moment, 57 in the middle of 3 wide for second place for a moment there. But he's in the first transfer position up there. And you have to go a little bit of a ways further to find the next ones. It'll be the 71 and the 96. The only other driver in the transfer positions that is a part of this pack, it's the 51 of Eric Norris, who is side by side with Elliott Sadler at the very end of this pack right now. So 4 out of the 8 of the transfer drivers are in the lead pack right now. Could threaten to be just 3 if Eric Norris is to lose this pack, but he's looking fine at the moment. Newman and McMurray still side by side for the race lead. These two led the last handful of laps consecutively, trading the lead a couple times. Jeremy Mayfield's also had himself a pretty good duel, led some laps in the 26 car, and now pulling up into second right behind the 12. He's got Parker Jr. in the 4 right behind him.
Getting dicier and dicier in the back of this pack, though.
Definitely drivers getting antsy to make up positions in the back end. Halfway in this duel and just past halfway now. 12 and 26, first and second. Kenny Hendrick, new member of Ware Racing Enterprises, primed to get lapped here on the backstretch towards turn 3. And Newman and Mayfield will take the low line here, trying to pass the 52. Free open spot for them as they head into turn 3. Hendrick will have to pick up the outside line, unlucky for McMurray, the fellow Dodge, but nonetheless, 52 picks him up as they leave turn 4. Still 12 and 26, 4, 48, 81, your top 5, as we approach just 20 laps to go the next time by.
These lap cars may be a blessing in disguise for these guys, as kind of forces the pack to single out a bit.
Definitely does, and we see the top 7, 8, all the way back to the back end of the top 10. That's Jeff Burton in 10th, all the way at the back of this line. Although, of course, going to be making moves, and Jimmy Johnson bailing out his Alliance teammate there. But Parker Jr. almost staying clear, but couldn't quite get in front of the 48. Tried to throw a block on him. So polar opposite of what we've seen from the Fords this week, as Jimmy Johnson jumps underneath his Alliance teammate to pass that 4 car. And now in line with the top 2, who are still Mayfield and Newman, who have been working together nicely up front. 20 laps to go here from Daytona in duel number 2.
It looks like the 17 and the 4 just got hung up to dry.
Absolutely did. Almost the entire field single file right now. Jimmy Johnson's still making moves on the bottom. He now looks for second on Mayfield.
Got his teammate right behind him, though.
Yeah, that'll be Ricky Hendrick in the 5, right behind the 48 car as they leave turn 4. 12:48.5 on the bottom. Newman trying to keep all those Hendrick machines at bay. And will do so with comfortable ease as they head towards turn number 1.
Craven and Norris, but it looks like the 72 and 52 are going to split the pack in 2.
Yeah, they definitely might. Kirk Shelmadine getting filtered out by McMurray, who now sets in line to try to catch back up to the first half of the pack.
And that's horrendously unlucky for Scott Riggs.
Absolutely. He is the last one, his only other one that he could pass. Jeff Green still in that pack up there in the 96. 57 and 96 about to duel for this third and final transfer spot at the moment. 51 and 71 can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, at least for now. Don't have to stress about it at the moment. Newman's still leading, has led quite a few laps consecutively now. Probably close to 5 to 8 laps in a row he's been in that first position. He leads Ricky Hendrick still off of turn number 2, and his teammate, that's Regan Smith in the 2 car, the rookie, third in line, and he's going to jump underneath the 5 to try to make it a Penske 1-2 now.
Well, it looks like the rest of this pack is going to be able to get around the 72 and 52, and will catch back up.
Riggs is back in line in the 57. He's third in the transfer. Jeff Green now drops to 4th, the last one out. Running comfortable right now. Got a lot of laps to work with, but looking not so good for Green, who's a little bit of a ways off this pack and would like to be in it. So he's not kind of trailing this pack with a chance to lose the draft. Got to keep the momentum up. And right now it's a little bit of a struggle, but he's doing his best to keep up. Still, Robbie Gordon going to be the first to split up this Penske duo up front. He takes away first. He's got Mike Bliss looking low for the lead,
with teammate Kevin Harvick behind.
Fresh teammates on the bottom. Bliss and Harvick down low. They've got Parker Jr. third in line right behind McMurray, who's had a bad fast Gillette Dodge. Also fourth in line on the bottom. A lot of fast race cars on that lower line right now. Mike Bliss will have the lead with his teammate Harvick right behind him in tow. Harvick kind of getting forced to look underneath the 81 as Robbie Gordon still on his outside. But Bliss stays in front of his teammate. No, he does not. Kevin Harvick gets in front, or gets his nose down low, and will be getting in front. Yeah, not a lot of teamwork from the Chevrolets here. But Harvick kind of had his hand forced with Robbie Gordon up on the outside there. So no harm, no foul. Through 3 and 4, 20 car now to first place. Hank Parker Jr. in the 4 right behind. Tell you what, that 4 car has had himself a great, great race. 15 laps to go from Daytona. That pit stop that we talked about in Duel 1 is approaching swiftly here for the race leaders. And here comes Parker Jr. for the lead.
You do not want to be 3 wide when we're going into the pits.
Absolutely not. Side by side for first as they head down the backstretch. Couple of Gibbs machines up on the outside, and it's second rate, but still Hendrick power on the bottom. He's got Chip Ganassi Racing's number 40 car right behind him. And Parker Jr. in the 4 has the nose ahead off of turn number 4, and he is going to lead his first lap as long as he can bring it to the stripe here. And he will lap lead for the 4 here in duel number 2. I believe that is his first today. We already talked about him a bit, was not leading when we did. Still side by side with Harvick, who almost got clear on the outside, but unable to pull all the way ahead, and Parker Jr. might be able to clear him off of 2, we'll see. Not quite. Door to door between the two leaders still as they head down the backstretch. McMurray doing everything he can to keep that 4 in first on the bottom. Kevin Harvick edging ahead there in turn 3. Great battle for the lead. These two a little bit unevenly matched as Harvick has the better car on the outside and trying to pull ahead on the outer line, has the lead at the stripe. This is what we love to see when that outside's working proper, and Harvick is working it beautifully at the moment. With help from his teammate Bliss in the 81.
And it just seems that Parker just doesn't have the top-end power to make this move to finish off the move.
Definitely. He's thanking his lucky stars. He's got teams like the 40 and 17 right behind him on the bottom to help out with some proper engine power, but really just struggling here. But he's doing a good job of holding it on the bottom, and it's a fantastic battle when you get one like this where there's a driver with a faster car on the outside. Parker Jr. had the lead by a skosh at the line there that time. Harvick still not able to clear, neither of them pulling out front of each other. You mentioned it in duel number 1 when we had a battle like this when Junior was leading Kurt Busch and Morgan Shepherd, who was on the inside. It's a 200-mile-an-hour logjam here at Daytona as we approach this pit window.
The longer they keep going like this, the dicier and dicier and dicier the back is going to get.
Already saw it with Jimmy Johnson forcing the issue 3 wide. And tell you what, they're going to get dicey at the front as Jamie McMurray takes it 3 wide for the race lead. Got tired of waiting for him, and now it's 3 deep. Harvick's clear on the outside, at least to the middle lane. He couldn't get in front of the 40. So now everything gets way dicier. Down the back stretch, majority of the field 3 wide now. Just when you were hoping, could you go 2 wide for a little bit longer? Now everybody's 3 wide, and that pit window is just going to be 2 or 3 laps away with a lot of drivers 3 deep in the middle of the pack.
Or almost 4.
Ricky Hendrick forcing the issue there just a little bit down the front stretch as they cross the line. 10 laps to go here in duel number 2 with Jamie McMurray, your race leader. Couple of Haas cars in line on the bottom. It's 00 and 0, Leffler and Elder on the bottom lane. Trying to work something out. And they will as Leffler jumps underneath the 17. Closer teamwork by the Haas drivers as they jump underneath to try to take 2nd and 3rd place away. Matt Kenseth forced up to the outer line. Scott Riggs following behind in the 57 machine. It's 57.96 and 51 over 71 right now.
Picked a really good time to single out.
Middle of the pack, not single file at all, though. A lot of 3 wide, including the pole sitter Robbie Gordon in the middle of it all. Leffler going to jump down for the lead, but Riggs is going to split up this Haas duo. He got underneath the 0 down the backstretch. Jason Leffler, rookie 00 now out front. Him in the 57 trailing on the bottom. A lot of young guns. Scott Riggs back there. 83 jumps off the pack to pit by himself, might I add. Pack gets split up a little bit thanks to that. Early pit stop there. Yeah, 83 in on his own. The 49 and 18 also pit together as they're leaving the pit lane right now.
I mean, they really didn't have any other choice.
Absolutely. See how that works out for them. Coming off a turn 4 to pit this time. A lot of drivers 3 wide in the mid-pack. Robbie Gordon gets out of Dodge. Costly for a lot of these guys in the back. 51 of Eric Norris especially, but also a ton of front runners. Ryan Newman, who led a lot of laps today in the back group here, who had to check up for those guys pitting because they were all 3 wide. That splits the pack into 2. 96 and 57 are all on their own up in the front pack. The 71 car, one of the drivers who pit in, a member of that group that came in here. We'll see how he ends up. Not a bad pit stop either, might I add, as he's right with Parker Jr. and Robbie Gordon leaving the pit lane. A lot more coming in here. And Eric Norris held up again. '57 stayed out with the 2 Haas duo. It is 00N0, Leffler and Elder, your 2 race leaders, staying out the extra time. A lot of teamwork from this Haas garage. They'll be pitting in together this time by from the race lead. And they'll take Scott Riggs in the 57 with them. Honestly, not a unsmart move by the 57 to stay out with him. Worked out for him too. These guys didn't really lose a whole lot of speed. Leffler with a very good pit entry there. Got out in front of those 2. Harvick and Eric Norris, a member of that group as well, pitting in on their own. 18 and 49 are about to pick up the 34 of Dave Blaney, make it a 3-car group here. And everybody else back on the racetrack. Elliott Sadler still a part of the front pack, it seems like. He's with the 4 of Hank Parker Jr. Really good pit stop for the 96 of Jeff Green as well. John Wood, the first of these cars who have already pit. He's net 6th right now. The top 5 now leaving the pit lane very separated. Haas and Elder and Leffler, the 2 Haas cars, not too far apart. And seemed like pitting later has worked yet again here. Harvick joins the track in front of John Wood. Eric Norris, despite being so far off, not a bad pit stop himself. He should be in transfer position here. It'll be him, 96 and 57 at the moment, the 71. A little bit of a ways off of Eric Norris, who is going to join the biggest section of this pack. And Jason Leffler, with his teammate right behind. These 2 are a long way out in front here. Does this second pack have enough time to catch the Haas duo, or who are going to start drafting together in just a moment?
And even if they do they have enough time to pass them?
We're going to find out. It's a lot of underdogs, as it's 000, then 57, 22, 96, 6, and 26. The first major team member is Kevin Harvick, who runs 8th. Further back, Parker Jr., a member of the top 10. He's now 9th. 51 and 71 are going to duel for that last transfer spot, given a chance. 3 laps to go. The two Haas cars are side by side for the lead. Not really what you want to see here, but they might be so far out front that it won't matter.
I wouldn't take that gamble. And if they're going to be side by side, you better stay side by side the entire time and block both lanes. Maybe that's what they're trying to do.
Not sure, but neither one of them is really pulling out in front of the other. It's going to take Elder a little bit to complete this pass on the bottom, which, again, I don't really agree with the move. They're still side by side.
Unless they block both lanes, this...
Elder now gets clear for the lead. Leffler will duck back behind his teammate. No, he won't. He'll go back down. What in the world is going on in the Haas garage? They're going to take the white flag here. Leffler now in front of his teammate again. And the 22 car is coming up fast as they take the white flag. But these two are up to speed again. Do they have enough time to pass the two Haas cars? We're about to find out. Kevin Harvick just got underneath the 22. Looking to run down the two cars that he's aligned with. These two Haas cars are prepared by that Gibbs garage. This could be what they want. We'll see. Kevin Harvick's got a big run towards turn 3. He's going to take it down to the bottom. Leffler's going to block him. Got in front of the 20. How about this kid? Off of turn 4, Jason Leffler. Haas played it just enough, and they are going to win here in duel number 2 with the 0-0 going to victory lane. A great win for them. Kevin Harvick and his new team comes home in second. It's not going to be a top 5 personnel there, and again, you got to think they should have worked together there. But nonetheless, still a good finish for him either way. And it'll be the 96 is in, the 57 is in, and the 51 is in. Ricky Craven in the 71 will be going home. As well as the 52 car, the 49, 72, and 34, who all ended up a member of the same pack back here. All those guys going to be going home, but it's Jason Leffler who wins it here in Duel 2.
I believe it will be Green, Riggs, and Norris.
Yes, it will. It'll be 96, 57, 51, the 3 that would have qualified in on time if it was time only. All in, and in the same order, too. Jeff Green first, Scott Riggs second transfer, and Eric Norris the third transfer of those 3 that make it into the big show, who are all going to race in the Daytona 500 on Sunday. But nonetheless, Jason Leffler, young gun rookie, not doing the full season in that 0-0 car, but he wins it here at Daytona. Duel 2 winner. But that will do it in duel number 2 and for the duels in general, as it will be Jason Leffler and Carl Edwards, your 2 duel winners. And later on this week, we'll take you to the big show, the Daytona 500. will be broadcasted in the near future. Expect that in real life on Saturday, probably. And we'll see you then. It'll be fun to catch you for the big show. 80 laps at Daytona coming your way in the near future. On behalf of Braden in the booth tonight, we've started off 2006 beautifully, and we'll catch you then. And as always, have yourself a good one.
It's a long way to the top.